General Charles Brown. I'm Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force. I'm obviously on the Joint Chief of Staff as well at the Pentagon. We were just here to announce some big changes coming to Fort Zancudo. It's being transitioned away from San Andreas National Guard to become a full joint service base of the federal government. Several branches are going to be based here, including the Army is already here, I guess, technically, Army National Guard, but the 40th Division headquarters is being moved here. Colonel Morgan, formerly San Andreas National Guard, is now the Major General of that division. Then we also have the United States Marine Corps and their new training program, known as the Space Marine Corps.
Can you restate that part? The space what?
Here. And then the United States Space Force.
Gotcha. Keep going.
They'll have headquarters in one of the hangars, I believe, over there. Behind the ATC tower, that large hangar you can see.
Oh, excellent.
NASA will also be operating out of the space. They operate several aircraft, including one that has a, what is it, Commandant? I think you know.
Telescope.
Yes, a telescope. It can fly up into the upper atmosphere and use the telescope for various research purposes. We also are reviving the space shuttle program as a test bed for lots of our new technology that we're going to be working on. We did, of course, confiscate several large pieces of technology from the Theta species. I believe that's what the scientists are calling them now.
Was that Theta?
Yeah. As we announced, as was expressed in some of our documentation previously, the people that assisted us, well, people or species, was called the United Federation of Planets. And they're a group of planets that all work together as kind of a democratic governing body.
Wow. And what is their involvement? Oh, go ahead.
They have determined that we are not an advanced enough species to join the Federation, which I think is absolutely ludicrous. They also think that we're too warlike and not ready to be on the galactic stage. So we've decided that we will develop the technology on our own, and we will forge our own, interplanetary system. President Kennedy wants to create the Terran Empire. I think maybe we can, look more into some other names, but that's just my opinion. I don't really want to contradict the president.
Excellent. So that's some big news. Are we opening up this to questions at this time?
Yeah.
So you mentioned that there are a lot of new organizations or departments that are going to be taking up space on Fort Zancudo, and I believe earlier that you said that this will be, or as a result of that, because of a joint service base operation. Those departments obviously have their own funding, but is this going to mean any implications for the funding for Fort Zancudo and the associated?
Yeah. So we briefed the politicians on this. The state government will no longer have to fund the National Guard, which will mean $45 million in monthly savings for the government, as the federal government will now be funding this base.
Okay, cool. That's excellent. And obviously, we can expect to see an increase in the resources available as a result of that funding, including maybe the resources we will use to ensure security.
I mean, I don't know how the state's going to use that money. They might use it to pay down their debt, but I believe President Kennedy is planning on forgiving the state debt.
Excellent, excellent. So beyond funding, are these military groups or these groups in general going to be providing additional resources in the way of maybe planes? Obviously, you mentioned a plane with a telescope, which is obviously a technological advancement. But is there more?
Well, the base altogether, we're obviously going to be hiring a lot of civilian engineers and stuff like that, which is going to bring, I think, billions of dollars in growth to the state and bring some of the sharpest and brightest minds of the entire world all to this state in this area.
That's a good point. That brings me to one of my other questions. If those individuals are coming in here, coming to this location, the state of San Andreas, is that going to have implication to our education services?
I believe that the ULSA, I think that's what it's called, the university up in Rockford Hills, is going to be getting additional funding and increasing their programs that they offer.
And then to touch back on maybe the elephant in the room, the existence of life outside this planet is obviously a concern and something that we're all kind of still wrapping our head around given the recent invasion. But to touch base on that, what we do know about them, you refer to them as the Theta species. Is that what? Is that an official term?
That's the one that attacked us. That's what we're calling them.
And is that a nomenclature we assigned from our own collective knowledge, or is that from the Federation as well?
That's just something we gave them.
Okay. And then, do we know anything about their autopsy or their general functions as a species? What their intents were?
We do not understand their intents. The Federation declined to share that with us, which is part of our main problem with them. They won't share with us where exactly they're from within our regional area of space. As far as their anatomy, it appears they're 2 to 3 times stronger than the average human, and they also have redundant organs. So, like we have 1 brain, 1 heart, 1 liver, they have 2 hearts and 3 livers, and we believe they only have 1 brain, but it's in their abdomen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And obviously the Theta species, as we're calling them, was aggressive. The messaging that was announced over or during the event or during the invasion was definitely that of threats, correct?
Yeah. So they appear to be some kind of collective mind that just attacks planets, and they harvest the core of every world they attack. It's some kind of fuel for them.
That's some scary stuff. Hopefully, these renovations and our advancement to progress into a galactic technological relevancy it works. The main issue the other thing that you commented on, you said the shuttle was going to be reinstated. The shuttle program was going to be reinstated. Does that mean that we're planning on going somewhere with the shuttle?
Well, right now they're going to be used mostly to deploy. We're going to see a sharp increase in the number of satellites being launched and put into orbit because we want to put lots of early warning satellites to detect ships coming from deep space. But the shuttles will also be test beds for new types of space travel, as far as engines and that kind of technology goes.
That's going to be good for us as well. Is there any implications or potential to turning some of this some of this technology into non-warlike advancements for our maybe medical advancements for our society or civilization?
Well, we did recover. There was a Federation ship that was shot down in downtown Los Santos. I believe Weasel News actually captured it, but didn't shot down.
Correct. Yep.
From there, we recovered some advanced medical technology that we're hoping we can reverse engineer and deploy globally.
Maybe it's too early to speak towards it, but what are the capabilities of such technology?
Well, in layman's terms, it's able to bring the dead back to life. We're not talking like someone who's been dead for hours, but someone who just died. It can reverse some of the damage to their cells.
Oh, that's amazing. That'd be revolutionary for our civilization.
They also have this technology and transport technology, which from how we understand it is able to scan when you first go in your biological signature, and then when it's time for you to beam back up, if it detects something different, it doesn't beam it back up with you. So if you pick up a disease or something, it can beam all of the virus out of you when you're beamed back.
Oh wow, that's definitely space age, as some of the laymen would say, or some of the undereducated would say. To kind of take in a different direction with this conversation, one of the comments that stood out to me, you said that the Federation, I know you've listed some of the qualms we have with them, but they obviously don't think we're ready. They think we're too aggressive. Do you believe our response to prove them wrong and show them that we are ready is maybe an admission or a demonstration of such aggression?
Well, we think that a civilization that's so dedicated to peace and protecting, the weak, like they say they are, but is unwilling to allow us in and is unwilling to protect us again, is obviously very hypocritical and probably doesn't actually stand up for anything, and they're just making excuses for why we can't join.
Oh, interesting. That's I hope I think there's a lot of opportunity to get there, but I don't know. At the end of the day, they could be a risk. I trust the experts in our government to.
Well, personally, as a student of history, anyone can look at recent wars and realize that humanity has come a long way in the last 100 years, and we went from having 2 world wars to no major global war or even any major regional wars since 1945. Sure, we're not perfect, but I don't think any species is ever going to be perfect, at least any species that recognizes or understands humanity, right?
That's fair. Do you have any questions for the generals?
Yes. So, as I understand, the military had deployed some nuclear weapons in attempt to combat them. Are we at risk of any fallout here in our city?
This region is pretty safe from fallout, so the prevailing winds mostly carried a lot of the fallout out into the Atlantic Ocean. We are still looking into the impact on sea life of that, but we don't believe it's going to be that harmful just due to the way radiation dissipates in water. Due to the Rocky Mountains and as well as the distance from here to where the nukes were used, this region's pretty safe.
But the country may not be. Obviously, we're still recovering from that damage. Do you feel like the former Secretary of Defense's actions were warranted?
It's hard to judge, retroactively. We don't understand exactly what was going through his head at that moment. I do want to make it clear that this state was attacked by, we estimate, 2,000 to 5,000 aliens, whereas Washington, D.C. and Maryland and New York City was attacked by hundreds of thousands.
Oh, wow. So just dramatic scale. That doesn't take away from any of the victory that we have by surviving and becoming the pinnacle of base operations. Is that true to say?
Can you rephrase that?
The fact that we were faced with a lesser force doesn't tarnish the victory of our efforts in any way, does it?
I don't think so. I think considering the small force that's stationed here, they did an admirable job and they protected the base. This is one of the only bases in the entire nation that wasn't directly attacked or took any severe damage. And, to be honest, most of the city itself was also fairly well protected and didn't take too much damage.
Yes, I can agree to that. There was a few. We got some footage of a space shuttle crashing. I don't know if it was the mothership, obviously not a mothership, but a primary attack ship of theirs crashing in downtown. I'm still yet to hear what the implications of the city damage is, but I'm assuming some of that money from the government is going to be able to assist in those repairs.
Yeah, so we're releasing FEMA aid as fast as we can. Obviously, the FEMA headquarters was destroyed, so we're having trouble accessing some of the funds. But we're working as hard as we can to clean up the mess in D.C.
Excellent.
All right, and I have a final question. Did we capture any Theta alive?
We do have a few alive.
Are you willing to elaborate?
They are at an undisclosed location, and we are attempting to learn as much about them as we can, both on a physiological nature and on understanding their society on a sociological scale.
And just out of fears for that, they don't have the ability to asexually reproduce or clone or anything like that. Do we know?
Well, so there's 2 species that seem to coexist from their world, and one we didn't capture, so we're not exactly sure of its capabilities, but the one we captured is the one that had some kind of cloaking technology, so it's not part of their race or anything, it's a technology they developed. And as far as we understand, reproduction-wise, they work similar to humans. Okay,
so as long as we keep them isolated, there's no fear for their numbers on our planet to grow while in detainment or in isolation.
Yeah, we are... there is the possible threat that there's some still that survived on Earth and did not get evacuated by their forces when they left here. So we are training new special attack squads with some new technology to hunt them down.
That's concerning. And none of these aliens have the ability to take on our appearance, as far as we're aware, right?
Not as far as we're aware.
Okay, interesting. Do you have any more questions, Mort?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Okay, I'm running out of questions as well. Do you have any closing statements that any of the generals would like to make for Weasel News before we depart?
Commandant, you want to make any statements from the Marine Corps?
So, from what I see, this is a triumph and a test of our great world, to be honest. This is a time where we either rise or we fall. And we must rise. Hoorah.
Who, newly promoted Major General, do you have any comments for Weasel News?
No. Stay safe. Hold your loved ones tight. And, yeah. Rebuild.
Excellent. I think that says it all from here from Weasel News at Fort Zancudo. Lots of big things coming. As we know more, we'll let you know. Hashtag Weasel News.
I think this is, the greatest opportunity for humanity to come together as one.
Well, as you just heard, lots of big things coming to Fort Zancudo, including NASA, Space Force, some additional funding potentially, as well as additional resources. Let's take a look at some of the footage that we collected earlier when the generals went and investigated and discussed with some of the troops. Take it away, Mark.
I'll let you brief your soldiers real quick, and if we feel anything we need to throw in, we will. Everything. Nothing we said was classified. We just haven't released the information yet.
Let me lay it out for you. That was I know some of you were confused on the prior events with the aliens and the other aliens that came to assist us. They were known as the Confederation.
Federation.
They were here to assist us, but, well, they're not going to do it again. As many of you know, East Coast is wiped out. This base is never going to be the, well, how do I put this? The pinnacle of the US military. We will be having many other branches be joining us on this base, such as Space Force. We'll be having NASA join us on this base to develop new technology. It'll be our job to safeguard it. John, could you run my memory on what our new thing is called again?
New what?
The new empire.
The Terran Empire.
Ah, yes. We, this has come straight from, the President's office. We will be now entering a stage where this world will be commencing a Terran Empire. I believe I said that right?
Yes.
Alright.
Please repeat. It got scrambled.
You know what? I think I'm going to have the, General Brown here explain the Terran Empire to you guys.
Essentially, the nations of the world are going to work together to catch up in technology to the Federation that came to assist us, as they believe that we are not an advanced enough race to join the Federation. So we are going to build the technology to become equal with them, and we are going to show them that we mean business. And this base is going to be one of the pinnacles, one of the biggest bases for this new expansion of technology, which means billions of dollars in investment in the state of San Andreas. It also means some of the greatest minds in the world are going to be moving here, which I think is quite good for the politicians over there, as well as all of you citizens who live in this state.
Yes. We will,
This is an idea coming from President Kennedy himself.
Indeed. Alright, am I clear to everyone?
Sir, yes, sir.
Alright. We will be making a transition. We are no longer the San Andreas National Guard. Is that understood? We are
Sir,
now a
yes, sir.
full-time, active military unit. The 40th Infantry Division.
I believe this is the 184th Regiment.
This is 184th Regiment, but I'm explaining my promotion. I'm now in charge of the 40th Division. The man I am currently looking at, Captain Smith, or should I say Lieutenant Colonel Smith. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
You are now in charge of the regiment. With his XL being Major Holiday.
Thank you, sir.
Expect more promotions coming soon. We obviously this will come with different technology, different standards, different objectives. So stay tuned.
I do want to emphasize just how important base security is going to be as we ramp up the invention of new technology here. So those of you that serve as MPs, stopping people from sneaking onto the space is going to be utmost priority.
Absolutely.
Of course, it's not
Any
top secret
operation-
since that hill over there is public and people can take pictures.
Yes, that's not ideal. Maybe we should discuss the idea of bring it down. I know. That's just me. All right.
You say bring down the hill?
Maybe.
Are you okay in the head, Morgan?
I'm fine. I'm
Okay.
fine. All right. Obviously, whenever an event, any tests, anything along those lines, we will need men here to guard this base. We will be doing rounds. I'll have my Lieutenant Colonel Smith get into it more. But yes, there'll be very large security from here on out. That understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Not a fucking thing gets off this base.
Oh, Mr. Morgan,
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah.
don't fuck this up.
Alright. Will do, sir. Alright. If you would like to address the men, Smith, you may. I'm just going to go join the general with the politicians.
Alright. Okay, so I'm gonna need everyone
Yes,
to
correct.
meet with me at some point to get you added to our new roster that we've been making. I'm also gonna need y'all to let me know which areas of service you're interested in. We're gonna have a couple of different things, such as drivers, gunners,
10-4, sir.
infantry, heavy gunners, whatever different areas of specialty within your service. Just whenever y'all can get to meet with me on that. Other than that, especially after the big tsunami, we're gonna hit the ground running. You guys are gonna be our more experienced members. We're gonna be bringing on a bunch of new people, so me, Holiday, Morgan, I'm sure we're all gonna rely on y'all to help support them moving up in, well, not the National Guard anymore, the Army, so. Other than that, I would say you're dismissed, but I don't know if we are or not, so I guess we'll just stand in this line again.
Would you like us to get in touch with you right after this, sir?
Hey, if y'all want.
Okay.
Right back.
Will you, though?
Men, we'll be having a meeting after this, so stick around. But they can fall out of parade here.
There you go. Move your feet.
How long will the meeting be, sir?
Take these vehicles and go to mess hall. I'll meet you there. Won't be a long meeting. 5 minutes at most. The mess hall.
You just take holidays.
Actually, leave us one of those. Leave us one of those. We're gonna need one of those.
Alright, there's still one.
All right.
So there you have it, folks. Lots of big changes coming to Fort Zancudo.
this is
Lots of new
full
military
again.
divisions. As more information comes available, we at Weasel News will make sure that you get it. Carmela,
Appreciate
smooth
all
out.
your hard work.